Now, Bitcoin and Ethereum are just some of the headliners making news following recent hikes in the price of the virtual coins. Have cryptocurrencies re-emerged from the 2018 lows? Joining us to unpack investing in the crypto space is Sean Sanders, who is the co-founder of Revex, and Richard de Sousa, the senior partner at Altcoin Trader. Gentlemen, thanks so much for your time. Richard, allow me to begin with you, because we've seen a host of risk assets come back into favor this year because of many reasons. We have had the US Federal Reserve slowing its pace on raising interest rates. We've had less concerns about global growth and the trade wars and the impact that might have, and that's really boosted risk sentiment. Emerging market currencies have benefited, equities have benefited, and so have cryptocurrencies. I'm wondering if the gains that we have seen in crypto is because of this reason, or are there other factors at play?
Fifi, I think with anything, there's always a host of factors at play. One of the fundamentals that I think is happening with cryptocurrencies is that during the slump of 2018, what the public maybe not be aware of is that millions of technical guys, millions of programmers were devoting their lives and building the infrastructure. The fundamentals of cryptocurrencies are so strong, and because the platform has been built and everything has been brought to a head, it's just really been a matter of time before we could expect to see a bull market return, and we could see that. Based with a whole lot of other factors, obviously it's just a matter of time. We're going to see cryptocurrencies surging, going higher and higher. The fundamentals in this industry are too good for that not to happen.
All right. Sean, the fundamentals being very strong are the views of Richard. What is your view behind what's driving the gains behind crypto in 2019, and is the worst over after a devastating 2018?
Through the frenzy that you saw in 2017, through to the opposite that took place in 2018 with the drop, and now into 2019, I think a lot of the sellers have been flushed out of the market. You've got a lot of long-term investors that have come in, a lot of very interesting projects, and I wouldn't necessarily be able to say that fundamentals are supportive at the moment, but momentum is there, and that's what it's probably the biggest indicator of future gains in crypto. So yeah.
Perhaps you can elaborate to us what you mean by the strong fundamentals that are backing crypto right now.
Well, just simply the fact that we have so much on take. Never before have we seen so many miners getting involved to support the network. Never before have we seen so many wallets coming online. We've never seen industry getting so involved. In 2018, we had more interest from industry and from corporate than we've ever had in the previous 9 years with Bitcoin. So if I can maybe give you a bit of analogy, back in 2017, people were saying, is Bitcoin going to be around next year this time? As soon as 2018 hit, that whole thought pattern changed, and people were going to say, what is the price of Bitcoin next year? There was no longer a question whether it would be around. It would be, what would the price be? Would it be up and down? I think with Bitcoin, we're going to constantly, because the industry is so small, we're going to constantly see these highs and lows. It's not the first time. We can expect to see that again in the future. But those fundamentals of everything that has happened and everything that the network needs to grow is bigger and better in 2018. That's just a clear indicator that we are ready for adoption. We are ready to take this to market.
All right. But I suppose, irrespective of your divergent views as to what is driving the price of crypto is higher, we are seeing the prices benefit from some sort of something right now. And Sean, I just want to pose this question to you, given that, there's this growing interest from people wanting to come in. You guys have sort of a passive investment vehicle into getting people exposure into the crypto world. Tell us a little bit more about this.
So we effectively have 4 bundles, which are very similar to ETFs that you have in traditional investing. These bundles provide diversified exposure to cryptocurrencies. So it's quite weird, or it's quite interesting to see that in the asset class of cryptocurrencies, that most individuals have invested only in Bitcoin or maybe Ethereum as well. And what we're trying to say is that we can't really pick the winners or the losers. It's the same as the early 2000s. Imagine picking AOL as being your stock pick, or picking pets.com. You're not 100% sure that they're going to be the ones that 20 years later are going to be the biggest and the best. So our approach is to simply say, rather own more of the market, rather don't try pick the winners or the losers, rather own the ones that come to the top. And through that mechanism of constantly rebalancing, we have an interesting feature where we rebalance your portfolio every single month, so you stay up to date with the latest market movements. And through that mechanic, we allow the winners to come to us and obviously come to our customers, and therefore your portfolio develops with and evolves with the market.
All right, but Sean, why isn't this quite an ETF? Why can't you call it that?
Well, cryptocurrencies aren't a financial product. And in order for an ETF to function the way that it needs to, it effectively requires market makers in the background. It requires quite an interesting redemption and creation process whereby the price of the underlying token, aka the ETF itself, or the price of the unit trust or the mutual fund, needs to equate to the price of the cumulative underlying assets. And when those start to go out of sync, it's something that you're seeing currently with a lot of listed companies. So if you look at the likes of Naspers, right, the underlying assets within Naspers or the underlying companies within Naspers are actually valued on an NAV basis or net asset value basis at greater than what Naspers share price currently is. And we want to avoid that in the investing world. So in order to avoid that, we've gone and done something quite interesting and quite innovative. We've taken a direct indexing approach whereby you own the underlying assets. So you will own your own Bitcoin, you'll own your own Ethereum, you'll own your own Litecoin, etc., etc. That means that the performance of our bundles perfectly mimics the underlying assets.
Sure. Richard, I mean, we've just seen the graph there of Bitcoin. Incredibly volatile, but certainly making a comeback, but quite far from the highs of, is it December 2017 when it reached $20,000? Yeah. But what is your approach to investing in the crypto space? Do you also take a passive approach, or are you more hands-on?
Well, we've got to divide people into two camps. We've got people that are in it for investing, and we've got people that are in it for the technology. So either of those approaches, at this stage, we can see the fundamentals in place. Bitcoin is going to go up. Buying Bitcoin is probably, obviously this is not financial advice, simply my opinion, but buying Bitcoin, it's probably set to increase the way it has. People are very focused on what happened in 2017. And in 2017, we had that massive spike. But if we had to cut that spike out of the graphs and take it back to previous years, we would just see a very healthy climb in the price of Bitcoin. Now, will we see another spike in the near future? Absolutely, it's almost a certainty. Will it crash again? Yes, it probably will. But if we take these spikes and we flatten the graph and we look at the overall, how it's growing, it is a very, very sound investment. So to avoid these spikes and to avoid this sort of up and down and the roller coaster ride that you might be riding as an investor, it would be to buy Bitcoin on a regular basis. Don't buy the highs, don't buy the lows. Rand cost averaging, buy on a regular basis. And that way, it
What's
makes
regular?
investing. Well, we've got a lot of clients that are on our platform, Altcoin Trader, that are buying on a monthly basis. Mm-hmm. And they are spending money that is very affordable. Some of them as little as 50 Rand, some 200 Rand a month. And just by simply buying that, managing your portfolio, getting your feet wet, understanding what's happening in this market, they're seeing really, really healthy returns.
Right. Sean, just elaborate more to us about your bundles and exactly, what cryptocurrencies are there, because we saw such a spike in coins coming to the market, and it's very difficult, for a lot of people who are not au fait with the space to know which ones to take seriously and which ones, are trash. So what's in your bundle right now?
So we have 4 different bundles. We've got a top 10 bundle, which is our flagship product. And effectively, that's the top 10 cryptocurrencies, less any stable coins. Now, a stable coin is a cryptocurrency that's pegged to a fiat currency usually. So you'll have a cryptocurrency potentially pegged to the dollar. We don't include those because if you want to buy dollars, you could go out to Rand Merchant Bank or Standard Bank and buy dollars yourself. And our top 10 bundle effectively equally weights the top 10 cryptocurrencies, again, less any stable coins. We've then got 3 other bundles, which are thematic. They focus on themes. So just as in with the stock market, you've got different themes, technology, resources, etc., etc. Within the crypto world, you equally have different sectors. So you've got privacy-focused cryptocurrencies. We have a bundle for privacy. There's platform-focused cryptocurrencies, namely Ethereum, Ethereum Classic, Neo, Cardano. These cryptocurrencies then fall into our platform bundle. And lastly, we have the most ubiquitous and well-known, which is the payments bundle, which holds Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin, Litecoin, etc., etc. Sure. And those are the top focused payment cryptocurrencies.
Sure. Richard, you were talking about your clients buying crypto on a monthly basis. What are the main uses, other than it being an alternate investment? Are there any functional uses that some of your clients are using it for?
Well, look, theoretically and practically, there's two different answers to that question. I mean,
Right.
theoretically, there's 1,000 uses for any type of cryptocurrency. What we've seen practically is that there are people that are sending money amongst themselves, using it for things like stokvels and so on, and just using it to pay debts, to pay each other, and at the end of that process, cashing it out back on our platform at Altcoin Trader. But theoretically, there's so much scope that needs to be uncovered, and that will obviously roll out in the years to come. Bearing in mind that we're still in our infancy with cryptocurrency. But what we've also found is that the nature of our platform, it's extremely easy to use.
Sure.
So whereas before you might have to have had a broker or had to get a third party to get involved in this, now you can simply go and sign up a free account, and you can start with a very small amount, and you can understand what is going on and get knowledge before you actually have to invest.
So
there's no limits or restrictions.
Simplifying the process.
Absolutely.
But then what are you still concerned about the risks here, particularly with such an increase in incidences of cybercrime? Sean, how protected are your clients from this by investing in a passive way?
So, whether you're passive or active or any other way to invest in cryptocurrencies, you need to take the right measures and the right proportions. For us, we need to be able to have a certain proportion, so more than 80% of client assets stored offline in cold storage. This is the crypto best practice in terms of looking after client assets. On top of that, you need to have regular due diligence completed to actually say that the underlying assets of your customers are in fact there, which we have. And there's other measures that individuals need to take. Having two-factor authentication on your account, so every single time that you want to make a trade or that you want to sell or you're wanting to do something, that you have a text message that comes through with a OTP or some sort of a PIN. That's all vital. Customers being educated about security risks and not following websites that seem dodgy and whatnot, all of that's very important. So there's the educational element to all of this.
Sure. And you?
Look, I'd like to back up a lot of the things that Sean said. These things are common industry practice and they need to be implemented. I think that the most key thing is sort of clients understanding how to protect themselves, as far as cybercrimes go, because you can have a company that can implement all of these measures and can really be up to standard. And if someone is not aware and doesn't fully understand the process, they can make themselves vulnerable. So we focus very much on client education and trying to explain to people the do's and don'ts. But overall, it is a safe place to play in. It's not, if you exercise reasonable caution, not even extreme caution, just reasonable caution, sure, it is a safe area to work in.
All right, so gentlemen, just as we wrap, we're looking at Bitcoin right now at around the $5,600 mark. Where or in which direction is it headed to from here, and by how long, or how long will it take to reach it? Richard?
Now, that's a question that we always asked. And, because the fact that my crystal ball's a little bit fuzzy, I'm not able to give definitive answers. But just going back to what we said previously, the fundamentals are all in place. Never before in this industry have we had what we've got now.
All right.
The groundwork has been laid. From here, it can only get better. I'm extremely bullish and extremely positive about the price. I think that we've seen the worst, we've turned the corner, and Bitcoin is on its way up.
All right, so up from you, Sean, your crystal ball, what's it telling you about where this crypto market is headed for the rest of this year?
We wouldn't have built a company unless we believed that cryptocurrencies as an asset class were going to increase in value. So I'm going to concur with Richard and say that, come the end of this year, I believe crypto will be up quite substantially. 5 and 10 years down the line, that's where the exciting part starts, or the excitement comes, because this world is changing. 10 years ago, we never dreamt that there would be social influencers as a job category. And I think 10 years down the line, we don't quite know what will come. And I think cryptocurrencies will form a big part of our future.
Gentlemen, thanks so much for your time. We will leave it there. That was Sean Sanders, who is the co-founder of Revex, and Richard de Sousa, senior partner at Altcoin Trader.